Colleen Condon has been away from Charleston County Council for over a month now, and since that time, she's been busy with a law firm and other projects. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I speak exclusively with her one-on-one. Colleen, it is so good to see you.
It's great seeing you again, Quintin.
I really appreciate this.
Absolutely.
You know, the last time I spoke with you was via email, and at the time you told me that you were having hard times during the holiday. You obviously lost your father. Where are you emotionally?
It reminds me why I knew I needed a little more free time for a while to refocus on family. I lost my father and my grandfather in December. And my son is a senior in high school and getting ready to head off to college, so important to spend some time with family this year.
Exactly. Speaking of family, let me go a couple of miles away from here. I hope memory serves me right, but you were in attendance for Lewis Warren's Senior Center yesterday afternoon.
Absolutely was.
What was that like to see that?
Wonderful. It was working on the Senior Center concept for West Ashley was truly one of the wonderful things I was able to do on council that I really am proud of. A group of seniors came to me in 2008 and said, "We're retiring. What do seniors do in West Ashley?" And that became the West Ashley Senior Center Coordinating Committee. And we met monthly from 2009 through 2014. And I was truly inspired being with a group of wonderful folks. Tom and Sandy Whitman, Terry Brown, Jan Harmon, Brenda Smith, Diane Hamilton, the list goes on of wonderful seniors. I got to benefit from their experience and their energy and their enthusiasm, and they really deserve the credit on why we did the groundbreaking for the Waring Senior Center on Monday. Indeed, tomorrow there'll be a celebration party at Bees Landing to kind of announce and celebrate that information and that group of people who really inspired and insisted West Ashley deserved a senior center of its own.
Yeah, and I was just thinking this too. A lot of the seniors, I guess it was a couple of years ago, I don't know if they still do this, but they walk around Southern Mall.
Absolutely. You know, I've coached soccer for kids, and certainly we're all familiar with Little League and football and kids basketball. And government, especially city and St. Andrews PSD and Parks and Playgrounds, spent a lot in West Ashley on kids recreation. Well, we're in the golden age of baby boomers now. It is appropriate that we be putting that much into recreation for all of us. Sure. And seniors is such a misleading term because senior centers are meant to be for 50 and older, not just those who are retired or true senior citizens. It is meant for a way to really make sure as active adults we're staying physically active and staying connected with others, which we know leads to great health. So it was really nice to move forward, and Lou Waring is just a wonderful namesake. He's done so much for the community. It is absolutely wonderful that we'll be having the Waring Center next year.
Let's stay in West Ashley. Revitalization. Obviously, that's talk of time right now. People are trying to wonder what's going to happen with Sam Rittenberg. How will we widen sidewalks? When you think of the future of West Ashley, what sticks out to you?
The community that is really forming now to create a personality for West Ashley is going to be a driving force as we move forward. A lot of that's represented, a lot of those folks are represented in the Revitalization Committee, but it really is even bigger than the committee. You know, we've got Mayor Tecklenburg who's moving ahead and worked hard on getting the TIF approved. Having a tax incrementing district, so specifically allowing the tax dollars already being collected to refocus specifically to add benefit and economic development that helps all of us along the Sam Rittenberg corridor is going to be wonderful. We started introducing that concept back several years ago. So, you know, some of these projects have taken a few years. Some of them obviously aren't even being done finished until after I'm out of office. But it's really nice to see things you worked on that for that long. The half-cent sales tax leads right into that. That next half-cent sales tax was approved. And so a component of that specifically is sidewalk and bicycle improvements. A good chunk of money for mass transit to make sure we have better ways to get around the Charleston area besides cars. So there's a lot of great things that are going to be happening in West Ashley and in the Charleston community in the next few years, and I know we're all excited to see how it goes.
I was looking around for your dog because usually dogs don't have 9 lives. But apparently, and this is weird, but 526 seems to have 9 lives. What is going on with this?
526 is a zombie, actually, is how I best describe it. I only wish it has the benefit someday that people hope it will. I know a lot of people have been promised pie in the sky, that it's all of a sudden is magically going to transform our traffic. I wish those people would look at what 526 has done to Mount Pleasant. It did not magically transform anything.
No.
It provided a temporary solution of faster transit. There then became so many more houses that the traffic then became just as bad and in fact worse.
Yeah.
So I think people have been promised so much that it keeps coming back, and there's certainly financial benefit to developers and others.
Right.
If it stays alive. So does it actually get done at some point? That I felt almost like Sisyphus, that there was a rock I was pushing uphill and I'd get it to the top and start over again. And I certainly hope that the citizens of West Ashley who believe that this is going to help will see that it does help. I have no belief it's going to provide real benefit, but I decided I'd push that rock up the hill long enough that I was going to step out and let others decide and see what they could accomplish. I think it's still a long way ahead before anything will be built, and there's a lot of other things that can be done in the short term.
Speaking of starting over, let's talk about Charleston County Council.
Okay.
Just recently, Vic Rawl became the chairman, and obviously Herb Sass is vice chairman. When you think of those two, what do you say?
Well, it really comes down to the whole 9 and how the whole 9 are working together. That's what's really important to me, and what I found was important when I was on council. But having a chair who's listening to everybody and working with them and allowing their concerns to be vetted is extremely important. So I hope to see a good year ahead for council.
Yes, indeed. Speaking of which, let's talk about your future. What's next for you?
Well, I'm a newlywed. I've only been married a little over a year, and so I'm looking forward to being able to have a few more free evenings and put it into both myself and my marriage. As I said, I have a child who's about to go off to college.
Yes.
And I will absolutely stay involved in the community of Charleston, and we'll see what's ahead. I was so energized this weekend at the Women's March. I've worked inside government for 12 years, and I don't know if term limits across the board are necessarily necessary, but for me, I could tell that I'd been in long enough that I felt like I wasn't as good as I had been when I was newer to the process. After 12 years in, I was feeling like, no, we can't even tackle that because I already know it won't work.
Right.
And so I felt like my energy would be better stepping out and getting that outside view again. Now, I already feel like I can say, wait, you can tackle X or Y.
Right.
And, I wanted to be able to focus on my law practice as well. So there were a lot of things that I said, you know what, I've put so much to a back burner between my dad, my wife, my child, to serve the community, which I loved doing. I truly enjoyed it. But I realized I was back burnering a lot of other things that I felt like it was time to refocus on me and my family and my work, and figure out what boards I'm going to be serving on this year and what the future brings.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Well, Colleen Condon, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this.
Absolutely. I've enjoyed it as always.
Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.